We've been trying to tell you that, gee, your dollar ain't worth shit. And well, after you watch this video, he's gonna give you a date when your dollar ain't gonna be worth shit. So you might wanna listen up for all you 401k people and all you stocks and all this other crap. Listen up.
Breaking news. You've been given the date the US dollar is going to collapse on the 1st of January 2024. So this is breaking news, and you have just been given the date, or they have just given you the date. And you can find videos of them announcing this. So this was an announcement, an official announcement from the BRICS Summit from 2023 conference, where they were talking about expansion. And they have announced that there are going to be, from the 1st of January 2024, there's going to be new members that are joining. These members are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia are officially joining. They've announced this. They are officially joining the BRICS Consortium of Nations on the 1st of January 2024. Coming up. Why is this the end of the US dollar? Well, if you look at the last two nations in that list up there, that's the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. So you're talking about all of the oil. These Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest producers of oil globally. And I think it was Ronald Reagan did a deal for military protection where Saudi agreed that they were only going to sell oil in what's called petrodollars. And what that did was to cement the US dollar as the world's reserve currencies, because effectively it was backed by oil by default. Other than that, the US dollar is only backed by debt. What this means is, as of the 1st of January 2024, Saudi Arabia will not be selling oil in petrodollars, and any other country that produces oil within the BRICS sort of conglomerate will not be selling oil in petrodollars. And what that means is, folks, that the only commodity that by de facto underpinned the US dollar is disappearing. The agenda of the BRICS sort of consortium of countries and coming together is de-dollarization. And what this means is that they're looking to take the world away from the US dollar as the global world's reserve currency. These countries added together, these new members that are joining on the 1st of January added together, you're talking another 300 million plus people added into this, and another over 400 billion in GDP added into this ever increasing block. There are more and more countries that are applying to join this. Now, like I say, the only thing underpinning the US dollar is built on debt, and it's the only thing underpinning it really was its status as the world reserve currency. It was used to trade oil and things like this. The fact that Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are officially joining, that's been announced now, folks, officially joining on the 1st of January 2024, that is the date that they've given you. That's the date that the US dollar, as the world's reserve currency, dies, because then there's nothing else backing it up. In order to be a member of BRICS, they're not going to be allowed, conditions of their membership is they're not going to be allowed to be able to sell oil in petrodollars, which marks the sort of shift in this sort of world power, and a big shift from west to east.
Price of gas.
So you've been given enough warning, folks. The 1st of January 2024 is your date. They've just announced it to you. I think it was today. It's just breaking. Again, if not financial advice, do your own research. But again, the US dollar, the date has been announced. Keep that in your diaries. Take care of yourself. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
You heard him. Hey, when they say shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Rule. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel of God, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. Man. That video from the Truth Seeker. I'm not sure who this guy is. Never seen him before. But, like I said, it's a wait-and-see approach to everything. But I know a couple of months ago, it was one guy on TikTok that brought out the information about how this BRICS alliance and how this rise of the Fed now pilot program, which actually went into fruition back in December last year, which was a 12-week pilot program. But basically, I know the guy stated that like after July, like 6 months or so like that, then they was going to launch this new system. And from what I know, that they had a summit with the BRICS nations on August the 22nd this year about making introducing a world global currency backed by gold. Now, how that's gonna fare, I'm not sure, because I'm sure that the United States is gonna do some major sabotaging to these particular nations and cutthroat in order to prevent this from happening, because ultimately the goal is to push the MOTB. And really, America there with it, you know, because it's not like the elites are just hurt because the dollar's crashing. It was all set up to scare the people into accepting the MOTB. So America and BRICS, even though these appear to be opposing forces on both sides, the NATO and the EU regime versus the Eastern Bloc, low key they're all in bed with each other, okay? Because it's all about an illusion. Like you got this guy Trump specifying, oh well, we're gonna now honor your C-19 mandates and your you-know-what mandates, and we're going to fight back and we're going to resist you. That's all control opposition, okay? Right wing, left wing, part of the same bird. That's all that it's talking about, man. Okay, so we have to understand to be in the spirit and not to be simple-minded by these particular votes of deception, because this is all part of Esau's sorcery. You see, he's putting both sides against each other so the people can be forced into a predicament to taking that micro C hit, man. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And y'all gonna find that out. So it says Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, which stands for the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia have been invited to join the club of emerging nations, strengthening its role as a geopolitical alternative to Western-led forms. Okay? So basically, hence, do away with the US dollar, which the US dollar is gonna die anyway. Okay? This is why they launched the Fed now, because they know that this form of fiat cash is going to pretty much be on its way out of here. And I can see it happening in January, but like I said, you have to wait and see. Okay? Because like I said, when you bring out information like this, Esau oftentimes, he tries to disannul it by offsetting the date. Because I'm not really big on dates, you know, as we shouldn't be. But the Lord said he will come as a thief in the night. All right? So it's so funny because when you go into Ezekiel the 38th chapter, it goes into these particular nations that's pretty much with BRICS alliance with Russia. You know what I'm saying? And the scriptures goes into these alliances being met with opposition. All right. So this is the book of Ezekiel 38. And this economy is getting ready to collapse. It's on its way out. Like I was watching Black Ram. He was basically going into the president election 2024. Would that be an election? And Lord's will, I hope not. Because honestly speaking, I mean, people say, well, Trump may get in there, but I don't really see him getting in there again, because honestly speaking, like with the smart cities and all this other stuff to push this, I mean, I don't know. You know, it can go either way. I don't know if Biden gonna stay in there. I don't know if the elections will be suspended. We don't really know it. You know, we just have to wait and see. But do I see Trump getting in there for real? I don't really see it. I can see him getting assassinated or something happening to him before they allow him back in office, because he's basically the bad cop, good cop. You know, he's basically like the opposing force that the elites have set up to dupe the people, you know. But anyway, this is Ezekiel 23, and I'm gonna start at verses 2. It says, Son of man, Ezekiel 38 and 2, Slakia. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophecy against him, and say, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am with thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Which, when you look on a map, you understand that the Japhetic nations and the sons of Japhet, and you understand like where Russia is located on a map today. It will actually be the land of Gog and Magog, which is the Edomites today. Which Gog and Magog, I believe they were of Japhetic origin. But it says, and say, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army and horses and horsemen, which is the military, because there will be a military clashing between America and Russia, mainly the East versus the West, with the Western allies pretty much turning against America, leaving her to fend for herself. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy armies and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shield, all of them handling swords, which is weapons of destruction, okay? Nukes, first of all, conventional war, okay? Through ground, boots on the ground. You got the Air Force, you got the Navy, you see? And then eventually those ICBMs and whatever else weaponry they use. And it says Persia and Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Okay, so when you look at Turkey or Istanbul, you look at Syria, you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at Libya, Egypt. I mean, it's pretty much naming these nations here. You know, it's pretty much like the BRICS nations, because it says Ethiopia, Iran. Okay, and then when we go here, it says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, and then Libya. You see, and this is all Bible prophecy, man. Okay, all biblical prophecy. And it says Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands in the house of Togarmah of the north quarters. You got Turkey, you know what I'm saying? You got Northern Europe, and all his bands and many people with thee. But be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Okay, and basically Russia is like the big boss behind all these smaller nations. Okay, like North Korea, they've been popping threats to America for decades now. Why? Because they know that the Russians will 9 times out of 10 side with them. Same thing with the Iran. They understand that, hey, this is a prominent partner of Russia or the USSR, which they was formerly called, that they're being backed by a superpower. So America's in trouble. Babylon the Great is in trouble. And this is really all Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai gearing up for that great day. Because check this out. This is the book of Zephaniah 3. And I'm going to start at verses 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, says Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth should be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, man. Okay, and that's going into this third world war, which in fact this dollar collapse, or this global collapse, because once the U.S. currency collapsed as a global dollar, as a global currency, that's going to affect the entire world. And this is the reason why you have these BRICS nations that's set up to counteract that, because they don't want to be in trouble, okay, in an inflated crisis due to the American dollar or to the petrodollar. So they have their particular currencies that's allegedly being backed by gold, precious metals, you see. But they're not understanding that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is going to throw a monkey wrench in all this shit, man. Okay, because for the simple fact, it is time for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to reign supreme on the planet Earth. Okay, so this is the book of Revelation 17, and I'm going to start at verses 14. It says, they should make war with the Lamb. And who is they? These nations, okay, predominantly Esau, Edom, and the other nations. It says, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen and faithful. And he said it to me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth with the whores America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Okay, which is the people, the nations. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, which is the EU, they shall hate the whore and shall burn her, it says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For the Most High put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High should be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, which is here, Babylon the Great. Okay, if anybody can't see that this is talking about America, then you really need to have your head checked, man, because this is clear evident that America is the ultimate superpower in the world today, and they're totally being obliterated, man, through financial means, which is done by design anyway. All right, so this is the book of Habakkuk 2, because you Americans, man, you silly Americans, you getting ready to lose everything you work, your 9-to-5s, your 401k, your pensions, to your retirement. You can kiss that shit goodbye, man. Okay, so the point is, like, why y'all even paying into that shit? Retirement, you're right. When in retirement, you gonna get us when the missiles hit. But this is the book of Habakkuk 2, and I'm gonna start at verses 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. And we saying it. Okay, and this video is a telltale of that. Even if it does happen in January, which I can see it happening in January because it's 6 months after the launch of the Fed now. You know, Esau has to hurry up and get his new world order off the ground because that's what it's all about. But the Most High is going to move things quick. Okay, and then we have a total solar eclipse next year, followed by lunar eclipses. So it's going to be a very eventful year next year. And they're talking about it may not be no election. That's the big rumor in the air now. Now, who knows? But honestly speaking, I believe, and just me personally, I could be wrong, but I believe this is the most time in history, well, not in history, but this is one of the times that they've spoke about not being an election. Now, I know when Obama was in there and all these other crises happened, it was like, well, it may not be an election, but this time it seems like it's a little bit more plausible, it's a little bit more realistic. It feels a little bit more dire, like, okay. But it says, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Okay, but behold, his soul which is lifted up is not right in him, and the just shall live by his faith. But yea, also because he transgressed by wine, and that's those philosophies. He is a proud man, neither keep it at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heaping unto him all people, man. Okay, it says, should not these take up a parable against him? And they're taking a parable up against him now. That once, look, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, prominent allies, like the guy mentioned, they made a patent to only trade petrol in US dollars. But now, once Saudi Arabia fully X's out of the American deal, you can expect gas, look, gas may be $40, $50 a gallon, man, come January, depending on how they do things. Okay, now they do have reserves, but at the end of the day, it's like, who's going to buy it? Okay, who's bagging it? Because all that debt circulating around the world is going to come back to America, and guess who it's going to hit? It's going to hit the citizens. Your rent is going to go up. You're going to see mass evictions, okay? Mass default on loans, house repossessions, all types of shit. Because, hey, they don't care if you can't pay it. They coming to foreclose on your shit. And they know it's wicked. But this is the result of living in Babylon and trusting in the wicked. But it says, yea, because he transgressed by one. Matter of fact, it says, should not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunty proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? But how long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay. That word clay goes into ibadyet, which is debt. You know? And it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that should bite thee, and awake that should vex thee, and thou should be as the booty from them, unto them, which is spoil. And they're spoiling your society because China owns majority of it. Everything is imported out. And nothing is made here. It's just consumed. You know? But it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people should spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city, and all that dwell therein, man. So you can forget about it. This shit it's on its way out of here. We getting ready to get in the kingdom, man. So when this happens, all hell gonna break loose, and they're gonna bring in some type of order, or they're gonna bring in some type of order to establish order from chaos, and then that's when they're gonna come with the solution, which is the micro C-HIP. And those are people that don't comply. They're going to be ostracized until they put in legislation to ultimately execute people that opposes this new world order. You know? So anyway, I'm going to end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh by Hashem.